What really happened behind the shocking scandal between BTS's Jungkook and Jimin that made HYBE seem like she lost control? Is this the end of the perfect image of Korean idols? Check out the dramatic stories and extreme decisions that rocked the K-pop industry. Is this the end of the perfect BTS era? Or is it just the beginning of the truth that has been covered up? Comment below. Like if you still believe in them, and subscribe for the most up-to-date updates from the increasingly unpredictable world of K-pop. No one expected, not even the sharpest army, that two of the biggest names in the K-pop universe, BTS's Jungkook and Jimin, would be at the center of a storm that shook the foundations of agency giant HYBE. The Korean entertainment world, which is known to be very organized and controlled, is now watching a drama that is no less hot than a high-end K-drama series. What exactly happened? And why was HYBE's reaction so extreme that many called them a complete panic? Like a storm that comes without warning, rumor after rumor blows from behind the sparkling stage. At first, it was only a small whisper among the international fanbase, but in a matter of days, the information grew into a tsunami of scandals that dragged big names and forced HYBE out of their comfort zone. When a mysterious photo went viral on social media, showing two men with silhouettes very similar to Jungkook and Jimin in an unusual location, the internet went up in flames. Although HYBE had issued an official statement trying to calm the issue, saying that the photo was the result of manipulation and cannot be confirmed as true, the fans did not remain silent. The online community dug deeper, analyzing body movements, hair fashion, to accessories worn in the viral portrait. The closer one looks, the more striking similarities that are difficult to ignore. An 11-second video was leaked to the public, showing two men with voices very similar to Jungkook and Jimin having a heated discussion, some calling it an emotional argument. Immediately, public opinion was divided. Some suspect this is a personal quarrel that was accidentally recorded. There are also those who suspect internal sabotage, considering that the timing of the appearance of this video is adjacent to BTS's massive comeback plans. However, what was most surprising was HYBE's reaction after the video exploded. In less than 72 hours, some incredible things happened. Jungkook and Jimin's entire media schedule is suddenly cancelled. HYBE's official social media account deleted dozens of uploads related to their individual activities. Some of the agency's senior staff reportedly mutated suddenly. And the most striking thing, all of Jungkook's solo promotion plans that were so intense before are now suddenly postponed until an undetermined time. This panic can't be contained. Even Korean music journalists called this HYBE's toughest response in the past 5 years. Why is HYBE so scared? Is this due to a larger personal scandal? Or because there is something more dangerous behind the scenes? Sources in the industry said that what happened was more than a personal mistake. The alleged involvement of external parties, including competitors of the Korean entertainment industry, became a hot topic behind HYBE's meeting tables. There has even been speculation that the leaked footage is part of a systematic effort to destroy BTS's reputation as an unblemished group. The story was further complicated when one of HYBE's former staffers anonymously revealed to the online forum community that there was tremendous pressure on both idols to maintain an inhuman image. This comment made the public ask, during this time, how much truth has been sacrificed for the sake of perfect imagery? Jungkook, known as the Golden Magne, has always been revered for his honest, humble, and dedicated image. Jimin, on the other hand, is often considered a gentle and loving figure. However, behind the scenes, rumors say that both are experiencing intense psychological stress, especially since the pandemic and the overhaul of HYBE's management structure. Surprise after surprise kept popping up. Netizens speculated that HYBE's extreme actions were also related to an internal conflict between the artist management division and the company's investment division, the latter of which is known to have big ambitions to expand into the global market through IPOs and cooperation with overseas companies. This scandal clearly poses a threat to the plan. A short video of Jungkook's live stream that was deleted in less than 5 minutes also raised a big question mark. In the video, Jungkook only says one sentence asterisk, "I'm sorry, but I'm also human." Asterisk, this simple speech actually shook the virtual world. Fans around the world poured out their emotions, sadness, anger, bewilderment, but also deep sympathy. The hashtags #ProtectJungkook and #WeLoveJimin became global trends in no time. In this situation, HYBE seems to be between two extreme options: to maintain the stability of their giant brand by separating themselves from the controversy, or to defend the artist who has been the face of the company. Some observers even refer to this as the most decisive moment in the history of HYBE. There has been no further official statement from the agency regarding their long-term move, but fans are now overshadowed by one deeper question asterisk: if Jungkook and Jimin, two of K-pop's biggest stars, can fall into this crisis, then what is left of the idealism of the Korean entertainment world that has been glorified? When secretly recorded internal footage of one of HYBE's closed-door meetings leaked into the hands of netizens, one sentence stirred up the ARMY community and opened up an abyss of suspicion darker than anything previously revealed. "We don't pay them to be human. We shape them to be brands." The line, heard by someone believed to be a senior executive, was not just a cold comment. It was a systemic declaration of how big agencies treat their artists, not as emotionally entitled individuals, but as a means of production. The footage reinforces allegations that Taehyung and Jungkook, known to the public for their closeness and vulnerability to each other, have all along been victims of the control-hungry machinery of Korean entertainment industry capitalism. One of the most heartbreaking moments was when a former editor revealed that he was ordered directly to remove private footage that recorded a frank conversation between Taehyung and Jungkook in the waiting room before the concert. They talk about being tired of having to keep smiling when their hearts are broken. Jungkook said, "I don't know who I am outside of the camera." Then Taehyung took her hand and said, "If we don't have each other, we're just puppets." The scene was never released. Not because it's not quality, but because it's too honest, too dangerous for imagery. An image that has been dictated by the invisible hands behind entertainment companies that sell dreams, but cut off the wings of their carriers. In another leaked document, one of the managers wrote a report about the tendency of excessive emotional dependence between two members and recommended psychological intervention to encourage them to create greater personal space for the benefit of the group. That is to say, they are considered too close, too much love for each other, too honest. And that, for the system, is a problem. In another voice recording leaked to the public, someone from the content strategy team is heard discussing efforts to break the public's perception of the two members' relationship. "We need to balance the fan base. Focusing too strongly on one internal relationship can decrease the distribution of support to other members. We start by separating the promotional activities, then organize the narrative that they are busy in their respective paths." So it turns out that all the coincidences about solo schedules, split content videos, or live moments that always seem limited are not coincidences. That's a scenario. Another former creative staffer of HYBE's mentioned that some of the concepts proposed by Taehyung, including the use of poetry, contemporary art, and a narrative about his depression, were rejected because they were considered not going to sell. Even when Taehyung wanted to insert crying sounds in the background of one of his songs, the executive producer rebuked, "People don't pay to hear you cry, Tae. They want to see you glamorous, not fragile." Jungkook is also said to have been conflicted several times because of his drive to display a dark side of himself, full of wounds and trauma. A vocal session for the unreleased song was called off because Jungkook cried and refused to continue the take after feeling that the lyrics the producer suggested don't have a soul. One of the audio engineers said that it was a day when the studio room was colder than a refrigerator, not because of the temperature, but because of the silenced emotions. Further making the controversy unstoppable was the finding that HYBE once actively asked lawyers to draft an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, requiring staff to remove any personal documentation relating to emotional interactions outside the official agenda. The NDA is valid for up to 5 years after they leave the company. That is, many of those who know the truth still have to keep silent because they are bound by the law. And when the public thought that everything had come to a head, it turned out that a darker reality came to the fore. A former in-house legal staffer of HYBE who eventually decided to speak to South Korea's independent alternative media anonymously, divulged that for years, there was a written policy that explicitly set the limits of members' emotional involvement towards each other in publicly accessible digital communications. The statement referred directly to the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook, which it referred to as a potential risk to disrupt the alignment of the public image. Even more surprising, the staffer said that the two had verbally objected to the surveillance of their private messages, including Instagram and Weverse DMS, which were unlawfully copied and monitored by certain teams within the company. There is no official permit, no written consent. It was done secretly under the pretext of protection of the artist's reputation. In fact, the monitoring was aimed at detecting any possible narrative deviations and personal affinities that were considered harmful to BTS brand balance. The public was completely uproar when this news appeared in the ARMY's largest online community. It didn't take long for the confession to be validated by 2 other ex-workers who claimed to have seen a summary of a communications report given to a senior executive ahead of the launch of Jungkook's solo project. The report lists who he messages frequently, his active hours, and even the emotional tone of his sentences. Is this still within the limits of professional work? Or is this already a form of snooping and invasion of privacy? And the more burning question, how long has this been happening? Are Taehyung and Jungkook the only victims? Or have all the members actually experienced this kind of treatment but chose to be silent for the sake of the group's name? It was reported that when Taehyung wanted to appear in an experimental visual project for one of the fashion brands he worked with, HYBE refused to sign an endorsement contract because her request to include Jungkook in a photo shoot was rejected outright. The reason, according to the leaked document, we don't want to revive fan subculture narratives that could potentially weaken individual image control. This further confirms that it is not only the advantages that companies think about, but also how they can grip the image and adapt the public perception to the direction of their business. Meanwhile, in another, more bleak world, some sources state that there was one incident when the two asked for time off together, which was rejected on the grounds that too many personal matches in one private space can lead to unhealthy emotional dependence. This not only abuses their rights as human beings, but also reduces genuine relationships to objects of managerial manipulation, as if their friendship is a time bomb that must be neutralized. As if emotional connection is something illegal. It's not over there. Some internal documentation editors are also starting to raise their voices. They divulged that in the process of compiling BTS's documentary, many authentic moments were removed because they were considered too tender, too intimate, too honest. Including one scene when Jungkook rubs Taehyung's back after a heavy training session and says, "You have to stop making everyone think you're strong. You don't always have to be okay." The scene was removed. No warning, no technical reason. Removed only because it is too humane. And all of this opens one new door to a much broader and harrowing discussion. Is the Korean entertainment industry structurally shaping idols to be products, not people? Have agencies like HYBE created an ecosystem where love, hurt, and grief are organized, measured, and packaged to the extent of a commercial aesthetic? We may love them for the honesty and connection they radiate, but the reality that is being exposed shows that all forms of that honesty have been collated, edited, censored, and even destroyed before it gets into the hands of the public. You think you see happiness? You think you see love? It turns out that you only see what they allow you to watch. And when Jungkook's tears fell silently on stage, or when Taehyung stared blankly at the audience seats after the concert was over, it wasn't a dramatic fragment. It was a testament to a system that had treated them not as artists, not as young people who grew up with fame, but as money-making machines who had to keep smiling under surveillance. Now the question is not only about unfair treatment. It's about exploitation. About how two of the world's most beloved human beings may be living in a golden prison that is more cruel than anything else. They are given everything, except the freedom to feel, to love, to choose. And if you still believe that fan love can protect them, then now is the time to prove it. Don't just buy albums. Don't just click like. Build a voice, send a message, demand transparency. Because if we're not the ones reminding the world that Jungkook and Taehyung are human beings, not stage puppets, then who is? Jungkook went live while listening to Taehyung's song. Internal management immediately sent a warning that the action could ignite unnecessary theories and damage the balance of individual exposure. Ironically, when other members mentioned each other in their solo projects, there was no such warning. So the question now is no longer, are they restricted? But why are only the two of them restricted? A more brutal admission came from a former assistant regional manager for global promotions. He revealed that there was a closed-door meeting where it was discussed about how Jungkook and Taehyung's closeness was considered an anomaly that should be addressed aesthetically and narratively, and that they need to be developed in different directions strategically. In the internal documents he kept, there is the term psychological divergence modeling, a kind of approach aimed at creating a controlled emotional distance between two individuals who are too publicly attached. What does that mean? This means that there is a conscious, planned, and systematic effort to keep two humans too united, not because they are dangerous, but because they are too pure for a system built from calculations. The caption seems to explain everything. Why their interactions are suddenly reduced, why the duet never happens when ARMY requests flood every platform, why Jungkook always looks like he's holding something back when he says the name V. Even in a variety show, when the two seemed too comfortable with each other outside of the script, the session was repeated, and the final result aired was cut 47 seconds. Why is the cut important? Because in the deleted scene, Taehyung touches Jungkook's hand and says, "When I'm with you, I don't feel like I have to be anyone." The sentence never reached the public, until it finally leaked in the form of a blurry clip secretly recorded by a small crew on site. More surprisingly, in a solo album promotion meeting, Taehyung had conveyed the idea to make a mini-documentary about his creative process with Jungkook in the past. But the proposal was immediately rejected by the director with one cold sentence: "We do not want to signal in the direction of socially and brand sensitive." Socially sensitive. The word struck inside. Is emotional honesty now considered a social threat? The deeper the investigation, the more it becomes clear that not only are these two members suffering, but the entire public is being lied to by a grand narrative designed with precision. Many fans began to rediscover patterns. Jungkook and Taehyung's live broadcast schedules that were never close together, promotional activities that were always separated even if they were in the same city, and worse, some fan call schedules that mysteriously canceled fans' requests to inquire about interactions between the two. What is more dangerous than emotional silencing is a collective deception carried out in the name of image. In an internal recording that is now circulating in certain communities, the voice of a logistics manager can be heard saying, "If they are too often together, the ARMY is too emotional. If the ARMY is too emotional, they become difficult to control." The word "Dina control" became the center of indignation. Because the truth is, ARMY is not a stupid community that can be manipulated with Instagram filters and concert visuals. ARMY reading. ARMY felt. ARMY keeps a track record of every wound and love that never aired. And now, as the wound is opened little by those who used to be silent, the voices that used to be restrained begin to roar. Appeared global petition. Emerging digital action. There is a boycott plan. But the most thrilling was the emergence of an open letter from thousands of ARMY cross-country, entitled, "We see you, we hear you, we believe you," which was sent not to the media, but directly to the HYBE building in Seoul. A message that if the world tries to alienate two souls who want to be close to each other, then the world will be confronted with one force that cannot be silenced: honest love and unpaid solidarity. Even when the camera's spotlight shines on them on stage with roaring applause, the reality behind the scenes is often Cold War-like. Not just about fame, but about who has the right to speak, who has the right to feel, who is given permission to show who he really is. When Jungkook sits alone in the studio in the middle of the night and none of the managers show up despite his request for technical assistance, it's not because he forgot, it's because he did it on purpose. One former HYBE staffer revealed that there was a tacit priority list that determined which artists deserved quick access to the facility and who should be left to self-study so as not to become too dependent. Taehyung, although known as a warm and aesthetic figure, was once considered too resistant to the system. He was once accused of destabilizing the promotion just for daring to suggest that the concept of a group photo shoot would better highlight the unique character of each member. The suggestion was laughed at, and he was frozen from brainstorming concepts for 2 major projects in a row. an unwritten condemnation that was never officially announced. But it was clear from how her face on the poster was deliberately made more neutral than the others. It's not a coincidence, it's a strategy. They are controlled even to whom they can be friends. In one particularly provocative case, Taehyung was once banned from appearing on a variety show simply because the program's producer had previously expressed admiration for his closeness to Jungkook. The reason? We don't want to push the narrative of an overly dominant couple publicly. When two humans who are friendly and too compatible with each other are perceived as a threat to the group's image, the system is not protecting the artist. It is controlling a narrative designed to eliminate their human side. Jungkook, during one of his closed-door rehearsals, once recorded himself singing while crying. The tape he sent to one of HYBE's producers with the note, "I want you to hear not only my voice, but also my pain." But the tape was never used as a reference. Even his reply email was only one sentence: "We are looking for more positive voices." In a world where pain is considered non-marketable, where tears can only arise if there is a sponsor behind it, artists are no longer people. They become products. And anyone who tries to get out of that molded form will be twisted, scraped, silenced. Taehyung reportedly once tried to propose a collaborative art project that would feature his personal paintings, not just merchandise, but live galleries. But the proposal was stopped at the director's table. Fans don't need paintings. They need you to sing and smile, read one of the leaked executive memos. The statement was like a slap to an artist who has always loved art as a means of escape. When a person is forbidden to love what makes him live, it is no longer control. That's oppression. Even further, there were reports that Jungkook and Taehyung had proposed to make a documentary content of their trip abroad without a script. We want fans to know who we are when there are no official cameras. But the proposal was rejected on the grounds that such content could open up wild spaces of emotional interpretation and harm the brand's position. In clearer language, they are afraid that these two people are too real, too sincere, too affectionate with each other. And that is the scariest thing for a system built on controlled falsehood. Meanwhile, the mental stress they experience is not only borne personally, but sometimes also used as a weapon. A person from the Internal Welfare Department revealed that when Taehyung asked for additional time for a psychological consultation, he was actually asked to postpone it because the brand ambassador's schedule is busy. It's as if mental health can be postponed like a meeting. On the other hand, Jungkook reportedly locked himself in the mixing room for almost 19 hours without going out, and none of the staff looked for him. It was only discovered by a night cleaning service. When asked why he didn't come out, his answer was short: "No one will care either." The depth of the wound never reached the public. Because every time the camera turns on, a smile is installed, the gesture is refined, the tone of voice is set, and the face that has been daubed with false light is again exhibited as if everything were fine. But no, nothing is really okay behind that almost obsessive micromanagement control. Now, armies around the world are beginning to question many things that were once taken for granted. Has this fandom been as controlled as they have been? Is the genuine love of fans being manipulated into supporting a system that hurts the people they care about most? And even more painful, has our silence helped perpetuate all this? They cannot speak freely. But we can. Then never stop asking. Never stop talking. Because the truth, once lit, can no longer be extinguished. You want a deeper truth? Evidence clearer? Or do you want to know who exactly is the decision cutter who has been in control of Taehyung and Jungkook's fate all this time? Let me continue. This story is not over. And you, as a witness, have a role to play in making sure this story is not silenced again.